Right, good morning, all of you. Here I am, Dr. Kamal Kishore Sharma, Director General at Taxila Business School, and we'll be talking about a very important subject for today, self-leadership. To understand that everything starts with me, you, the way we deal with the outside world. That's the way people recognize us. If you're not there as per their expectation, nothing happens, nothing moves. We remain an average person on whom there's a load of expectations, but nothing happens as per your expectation. So look at it, let's take this concept, understand bit by bit the contexts, the focus, the situations. What if it is, what if it is not? There are other concepts and theories of leadership that also we will talk about today. And then we'll bring the focus on you. So to begin with, self-leadership, Lao Tzu said once, mastering others is strength. Mastering yourself is true power. And that's where the power always lies within you. The problem is we do not recognize that. Let's start with some concept clarity, and you will see that leadership is often spoken of in two contexts. One is the subject focus, the followers, what is the group of those kind of people who are there, and the other one is, so the focus either is on self or the groups and teams we work with or the organizations that we work with. Then comes the situational side of it. We could be in a situation where there is a transformation required, a big change is required, the way we think around and we see around the digital changes, the digital transformation that is happening in the organization. The next stage is situational, where either a change is required, that is transformational, and there the role of leaders is very large because they have to identify the set of people who would work around that transformation. They have to set a vision for that change, and accordingly the change is brought in with the help of the set of people. But the key role of the leader is the most important thing over there. Then there are concepts around ethical leadership and authentic leadership. Ethical leadership is all about common good, everything that can be associated in a positive manner with an organization. That's where ethical leadership issues lie. And the authentic leadership is all about transparency, being positive, being honest, being the truthful self. So that is where, when people are the truthful self, they are authentic, and that's where the authentic leadership issues lie. Now let's come to self-leadership. What exactly is self-leadership? If you look at it, self-leadership is the practice of intentionally influencing your thinking, feeling, and actions. It again starts with you, focuses on you, and ends at you, towards some of the objectives that we set for life. It's a lot about self-reflection, setting goals, having beliefs, and taking full responsibility of the goals that you set for yourself. It's about being effective. It's about continuously improving yourself. In simple words, how can I be better than yesterday? And that's where the crux lies. Everything that you do in life has a learning value. It adds on to the brand you. And that's where the focus lies. If you are continuously developing yourself, you will definitely beat your own expectations. Forget about what the society expects from you. But first you have to beat your own expectations. Meet your own expectations and beat your own expectations. it is increasingly becoming a critical success factor for success in organizations. The interviewers, the recruitments today focus on how relevant are you in terms of knowledge, and also how aware are you in terms of your belief in yourself, your capabilities. What do you understand about yourself, and how can you become better and contribute to the organizational value? And together these two lead to the success of recruitment and then success of performance in that organization. So it's a self-leadership, it's a journey. It starts with self-awareness. Do I know who I am? Do I know what capabilities I have? What resources I have? What is the expectation? What is my own expectation from myself? Am I learning enough? Am I improving enough? Am I growing enough? Am I in control of myself, my emotions? Do people recognize me that I am in control? It's just not about me believing in myself that I am in control. It's also about people believing that you are in control. It reminds me of a story of a butterfly, a beautiful butterfly in its cocoon. Marvelous butterfly in its cocoon. It was just about to take birth. It was struggling. The boy was looking at the struggle of the butterfly inside that cocoon, and he was feeling pity. He was imagining himself in a situation where he would be stuck inside something and struggling to come out. In a fit of your own belief that the butterfly, yet to be born butterfly, needs help, the boy went and cut the cocoon so that the butterfly can come out easily. Butterfly did come out easily. But to the astonishment of the boy, the butterfly could not fly. And you can imagine how slow death that butterfly would have died. The struggle of a butterfly in a cocoon sends the blood to the wings of the butterfly to give strength to the wings of the butterfly. That is what a butterfly learns even when being in the cocoon. Now imagine we all, human beings, we all come out as babies. We need a lot of support from our parents. There's least that we learn on our own in the initial few years of our life. But the moment we become conscious about who we are, we start investing in ourselves. Right from the school days, we start looking at what can I learn more, what can I contribute more, what more friends can I make, what better writing can I do, what better marks can I score, what better figures can I draw, how speedily I can solve a maths question or a science question, how much do I understand about the concepts behind the text that is being talked about. That is where the issues of self-leadership is speaking. You are in the process of continuous learning. Right with the butterfly in the womb, what it learns from there gives it the life. What we learn in human beings, the conditions are slightly different. What we learn in the process of working around, meeting people, having seen information, the exposure around, the emotions from within, the interaction with people around, we learn from every instance. And that's where the learning, if it happens continuously, there are stories and instances of self-leadership. We must understand while I am talking about that what is self-leadership. It focuses on me, how much I am learning, how much I am doing, what am I doing, what is required of me, what is my own expectation, what are the peers' expectations, what are the people's expectations around me. That's where the issues of self-leadership lie. But how do we understand whether self-leadership is in practice? How do I understand when the self-leadership is in practice? I've just picked up a few instances and few stories, and it will become clear what are we talking about. And the question with every story that you need to answer to yourself, am I in control? Am I good to myself? Am I true to myself? Am I capable? You have to answer these questions with every story. So the stories and instances of self-leadership, I've just brought down a few. There are hundreds and thousands and millions of stories. Like, take responsibility for everything. Don't pass the blame, irrespective of whose mistake is this. Even a child, the parent, the first lessons probably the parent teaches a child is, बेटा झूठ मत बोलो, तुमसे गलती हुई ना, तुमसे गिरा ना ये, नहीं मम्मा अपने आप गिर गया था. Quite often we listen to these stories from kids, and then the parent says, बेटा जब गिर जाता है तो मम्मा को बता देते हैं, मम्मा आपकी हेल्प करती है. That's where the first lesson of life starts, that please don't pass the blame. If you always keep passing on the blame and keep making somebody else responsible for problems, you will never develop yourself. Take it from me. Some people distribute credits and kudos. They give the sense of importance to people around them, and that builds trust. I'm reminded of a story where the boy is sitting in front of father, and father is teaching the boy a lesson, science. The boy feels that father is the most important person who can teach that lesson to me. The father also feels that the boy needs some help, so it's important for me to teach that lesson to the child. And then a phone call comes. The father does not take the call and continues with the teaching. Another call comes from the same number, and the father doesn't take the call. And another call comes, and the father again does not take the call. Now the boy is getting puzzled. Papa, you are a big officer and you have a lot of important things and calls to make. The person who is calling from the other side also might be an important call for you. Father says, yes, use the right word, might be. There is something that I'm already doing that is important, and the call that is coming may be important. I don't know. So I am in more control of what is more important that I am already doing. That gives that sense of importance, the pride of the boy in feeling that how important that boy is, even in front of all the things that his father does and are kind of the important things in life that he gets to do for the workplace, for the office. Still, he is feeling that the work that he is currently doing of teaching me is important. Imagine the kind of trust that generates between the father and the son. And even if he was not the son, the kind of trust it generates that, see, I'm a young fellow and it is important for me, and the father recognizes, the person recognizes that, and he is giving due importance. That's the importance of giving credit. And once you do that, the credit comes back. It finds a way to come back to you, because credit never dies. It only can be distributed. More you distribute, more it comes back to you. Please remember this. Third instance I have picked up is walking the talk. Now, we often say to our kids, don't litter garbage. And sometimes we ourselves are found doing that. We talk about be careful about the environment. And we ourselves are responsible for not using public transport vehicles always, everywhere. My private vehicle that adds to the global warming, the poor polluted air that the moving vehicle generates. Or as simple as that, that if you are on time, then only you can expect the people whom you are working with you to be on time. You cannot shout a person. You will not feel the power from within yourself to be able to shout at somebody if you yourself have not been respecting time. Walk the talk. The leaders, probably the first principle of a leader is whatever you say, your followers are listening, but you must follow your own advice first. That's the power of walking the talk. When you do that, people willingly follow you. When you don't do that, people may follow the chair and the directions, but the moment you are not there, your advice will not be followed. Next instances I picked up is have self-belief. Self-confidence is infectious. Just like Corona of today, self-confidence is infectious and it is inspirational. I don't know how many of you would have actually seen that movie Mary Kom or Milkha, or even in real life, some movie is getting made on China, but she was world number one at one point of time. The kind of hard work that they did behind, if you would remember the Ladakh location, the river bed on which Milkha was running with a big truck tire tied around his waist, and he just fell down and blood started coming out of his mouth. That's the level of commitment that a person requires. That's coming from self-belief that yes, I can break the world record of 400 meters. And that becomes inspiration for yourself. Imagine for the people around you. What he did sparked off an army of runners who would run 400 meters trying to emulate what Milkha Singh could do. Think about Mary Kom. Even after birth of a few kids, she came back. That's the power of self-belief that I can still be the world champion. That's the power you have to create in yourself. That self-belief, it's very infectious, very inspirational. Next instance is about be resilient. To me, if somebody asks the question, who do you think is the best teacher? To me, Pat would come and reply, if you have not failed, you may not have learned. So to me, failure is the best teacher. After that, you could start with your mom, your dad, your elder brother and sister, your school teachers, your college teachers, your university teachers, sometimes your friends, sometimes the elderly people you interact with, and sometimes those figures about whom you read. Mahatma Gandhi, Swami Vivekananda, all of those people you read about, all of those could be teachers physically in front of you or may not be physically in front of you. But to me, everything starts with failure. Even the fact that the kid learns walking happens after or during the process, he or she would have fallen down a number of times. That's how the kid also learns what is the way to get up, what is the way to put your first foot and then second foot forward, and then see the joy on the face of that person. If you are resilient, if you are looking at failures as a learning experiences, you will always learn. I often call myself a product of failures. My initial life was full of, taking multiple exams and failing in almost everything. So I don't know, some other day, my life story, we might recollect and recall those failures and how did it all come back. But the only thing I will draw from my own story is I learned at every stage what was missing in me. And I worked on that. That's called self-control, self-belief. And after that, there have been a lot of stories that people talk about successes. Next instance is about, there are a lot of good people around you. The good people support you even when they do not speak a single word. If their mere presence around you gives you that sense of confidence and strength. In an organization, there are a lot of key people who handle a lot of key responsibilities. And something that even my own grandfather talked about, when he used to say, when I was studying in a city, and during weekends, often I used to go to my village, and he would say, "Come, sit with me, and we will talk." And he would spend half an hour, 1 hour, till somebody else would come, and they would get going on some other talk. The things that he talked to me about, he used to talk to me about farming. He used to talk to me about gold and silver. He used to work on those articles. He used to talk to me about relationships. So he would try to find these subjects that he would want to speak with me. Today, those days, I may not have realized the power of all those short conversations, but if I reflect back today, that was a great learning experience for me, that I talked to him so often. Similarly, all the key people around you are important people, and hence you should keep in regular communication. If you take them for granted, in no sooner than some time, they will start feeling that probably I have lost my value, or I am not doing enough, or even if I am doing whatever I can do, even then there is nobody to tell me that you have done a good job. Please use your speech, your tongue, to always speak good things. Don't, at the drop of a hat, use every good word that you can use with people around you, especially with the key people around you. Show compassion, empathy. There are two instances I will pick up here. The example of Lady Diana. Now, there was a time when there were millions of AIDS, acquired immunodeficiency syndrome. There was a virus, just like today's virus. The story is quite relevant even now. An AIDS virus was wiping out populations in Africa. And there are a lot of other communities around the world where the virus was creating havoc. Now, there were wrong notions traveling along with that virus, that even if you stand along with somebody, it will infect you. If you touch somebody, it will infect you. Because people started hating those people who had AIDS. AIDS could come through various mediums, and let's not discuss the transmission mediums, but without your own fault, you could get that virus. Now, what did Lady Diana do in one of her visits to Africa is she shook hands with an AIDS-infected patient without the gloves on. Now, Lady Diana was one of the most important influential figures of the world during her period, and when she did that, this message went out very, very strongly that touching people with AIDS does not give you AIDS. Now, with one stroke of example, she felt empathetic towards a wrong notion and the people who are already infected, who are down under, and they need some support. And so she used this opportunity to shake hands without the gloves on. Another instance that I would pick up is, I often see, and I do it myself, that there are a lot of instances when you are traveling on the road and then suddenly there's a big stone that comes in front of you. Now, usually what you would do is to maneuver your car or a two-wheeler, whatever you have, and just skirt around that stone and go on with your journey. I've often seen Good Samaritans. I often do it myself. I will stop by the side and try to remove that stone if I can, or I can seek help from other people who are nearby and try to remove that stone. Because if I have escaped it, some people might not notice that might cause an accident. So even while the affected person might not be in front of you, or the affected person might not have been already affected, it might affect in future, but the empathy is already working. Now, these are instances of self-leadership that you should practice day in and day out. The world's best leaders are those who manage themselves best. They are disciplined, they have a sense of time management, they have empathy, they have a very strong communication skills, and they are knowledge hungry. And each one of you would have to be that, practicing each word of this to the core and try to imbibe that and develop the you. A lot is drawn from emotional intelligence. I will use the board for that. Now, this is a model coming from Goldman's emotional intelligence theory. The first talks about the first box on the left talks about whether I recognize myself, my capabilities, my emotions. Do I understand my moods? What is infecting me? What is affecting me? What thoughts are going on in my mind? What should I be doing? All of that is recognition of self, and I would put that self-awareness in this box. Every person is a social animal and is a bundle of emotions that is coming from all the actions that are happening, either initiated by you or initiated by people around you. And how do you respond to this knowledge? And how do you respond to the situation is what gives you the power of emotional intelligence. And it starts with self-awareness. Do I recognize myself, my moods, my emotions, how they are affecting me? What actions will improve that? What actions may improve the poor situation? And what actions may improve actually the goodness of what I am doing? Am I self-aware? Then comes, if I know my emotions, if I know my level of needs, wants, desires, if I know what it takes to do, am I doing it? What do I do is called self-management. What do I do with my emotions, with my moods? What action do I take? What do I speak? What is my judgment? Do I say right or wrong? Do I hold myself or do I express myself? What do I speak? What knowledge do I bring to this speech? All of that is about self-management. You can't speak if you don't have knowledge. You can't understand somebody's emotions if you yourself do not understand your emotions through self-awareness. If you have not been in situations, you don't have an experience of how to deal with somebody's emotions, it all starts, the learning starts with your own emotions. How much do you understand about what emotions you are going through? How do you recognize it? Are you self-aware? And then how do you manage? How do you respond? What words do you use? How do you communicate? All of that is in this box of self. Once you are confident that you are self-aware and you are managing yourself well, that's where you will be able to social awareness and social skills. The unit in this part of this model is the self, and the unit in this part of the model is the people you interact with. They could be kids, your friends, your parents, your peers, your bosses, your relatives, people whom you don't know. Even with people whom you don't know, there is an expectation. For example, when you're at a railway station, you just can't be spitting anywhere. Just because you don't know the people around you or they don't know you doesn't mean that you should be stopping to be socially aware. That's where you lose your self-leadership. And that's where important social awareness and social skills come in. If you are able to appreciate, empathize with the people around you would also have emotions as you would have, you will be good at your social skills. And once you are good at social skills, you can develop a good friendship, you can develop a good network, you can get along with the peers and the bosses that you work with, you can be a successful business leader, either at a workplace or with your own business. But the unit of all of this is first starting with self. Are you a self-leader yourself? You remember that I just spoke about a number of instances on how do you manage yourself. All right. So only when you truly know yourself, your strengths and weaknesses, you'll be able to appreciate others. That's the model where I'm talking about the social awareness. So it has to start with yourself first. And if you want your team to perform heroically, you have to be the hero first. So the choice is actually yours, whether you want to be an excellent person or a mediocre person. Excellence lies within you. It has to be discovered and polished. It doesn't happen that you dream of it and the excellence comes to you. And if you do not do anything to be excellent, you will remain a mediocre. Let's actually, sometimes the fear of something not being there drives us faster than the positive push of something being there. So I thought of this that, let me also discuss about the characteristics of mediocre people at workplaces or in your friend circles. Look around. Do you see people with very strong biases? Very polarized thinking? No, what I'm saying is right. Rest everybody is wrong. You often see them. You often see them overly generalizing. They do not use proper logic. They overgeneralize in the way, for example, I'll pick up one instance is going wrong with, you're standing at a railway station. One train has come late, 5 minutes late. Indian Railways mein hamesha. It's so often that we actually start overgeneralizing anything that we see around. You see a wrong behavior on part of some person, you have not reflected on what is the background, but say, "Arey yaar, wo bahut gusse wala aadmi hai." He might have been one of the very joyful people, but you might have seen him only once when he was angry, and you start concluding that, "Arey yaar, wo bahut gusse wala hai." You would also have seen people around not taking responsibility. And they would not take responsibility because they don't want the consequences. I might fail. So what? If you don't try, you will definitely fail. And you will fail only if you try. And learning will happen only if you try. So learning, failing, or succeeding is all part of the game. But such mediocre people would not understand that. You don't believe in your capability at all. So that element of doubt always come in. Usse nahi hua shayad mere se bhi. Anything can happen, or you try. When you try, it can only happen if you have some level of self-belief that you can make it possible. It is possible to do. Let me try it once. But you start losing your own self-confidence, and you often see people around. There are people who don't speak. In an MBA class or in any kind of a professional class, there are people who don't speak. The fear of saying a wrong sentence or a wrong grammar and somebody smiling, अरे इसको मन में वो कुछ भी नहीं बोल रहा होगा, लेकिन आपको लग रहा है कि वो बंदा ये बोल रहा है, अरे इसको तो इंग्लिश बोलना नहीं आता, ये जबरदस्ती ट्राई करता है. So you will try only, you have started with some self-belief, and when you try only, then you will get the good grammar and the good communication. Please take it from me. The people who just always want to be in control, मैं जो कह रहा हूँ वो सही है, ऐसे ही करना है. They don't go for logic. They have very strong biases, and such people are control freak. They often blame others for your own failures. They are not flexible. At the moment, they start feeling very jittery about when things change around you, and they say, "यार ये तो expect नहीं किया था, अब क्या होगा? अब कैसे होगा? अब तो छोड़ो यार." Remember that change is the only constant. Some other day we will talk about this topic of change. Change is the only constant. It keeps on changing. Every second that passes by changes the time frame. It all starts with that. You are getting a day or a second or a minute older. The person who is in front of you may not be in front of you, or a new person could have come. By the time, if you are in a class, one new sentence or two new sentences would have been spoken by the teacher, and you would be expected to be more knowledgeable. Change, such small level changes always keeps happening. The problem is when large scale changes come and people start feeling bad, worse, jittery, no confidence. Remember that if you do not make yourself flexible enough to always realize that change is something that I can learn from. Change is something that I can influence to my benefit. If you don't start with that belief, change will start affecting you negatively. And the combination of all of these is that you start losing your ability to lead people. Leading people starts with somebody believing, the person who wants to be led. He believes in your capability, then only he or she will allow you to lead him. But the moment you display some of these characteristics of mediocre people, often now and then people will start disbelieving in your capability that you are the right person to lead them. And from there on, a poor leadership environment can lead to any wrong thing. So my last few pieces of advice is to be with the times. The most important skills that we are talking about these days, and these very skills we are losing every day if we do not do it properly. And see how basic these skills are. To read, to speak, to write. How often do we read very relevant things? When was the last time you read actually an autobiography of a great person? When was the last time you read some science, the background of some scientific event that is happening? But if I ask you about Corona, the WhatsApp University of today might have given you the gyan from the entire world, the gyan that you do not require. Are we reading relevant things? It creates a perspective in mind. It improves yourself. You learn a lot of good things from there. Learn a lot of communication elements from there. You learn a lot of situational elements from there. You learn what people appreciated in these good people. You learn how much self-belief was driving them that they became so good and so big people. Don't you want these examples? And see what you're reading around. Make an assessment yourself. In the last 10 days, what you have been reading, look at it and just try to give some marks on that. And what are the kind of elements that you have read that made a lot of sense for you, your development? Speak. Often I have seen that people feel very low level of confidence that they are not able to speak properly. Speech doesn't come with a magic wand. Please remember that what you are able to speak in your mother tongue today If it's Hindi or Marwadi or whatever, or some Telugu or Marathi, if you are able to speak flawless that language, it's not a result of 1 year or 1 month or one coaching. You've been learning it from childhood. That's what. You've been practicing it. You've been using it to converse with your father, with your mother, with your brothers, sisters, relatives, friends. You've been practicing it despite you may have said a number of hundreds of wrong sentences and wrong words. And somebody would have told you, aise nahi bolo, aise bolo. That's how you develop a language. And you imagine that, English speech capabilities come from just, 2 months of a English speaking course. You might have gone through grammar and every kind of English textbook courses that you've been doing in entire, your school level. That's where you learn the language. You don't learn languages unless you enroll for a language-based graduation course. All your language is learned in your school time. And how much you would have practiced that. Think about it. Today, if you're not able to be very good at a certain language, it's only because you lack practice. How do you practice? Some other day we might be able to speak about that also, but to just let you know that the self-awareness or self-leadership or control of self or making yourself good, it all starts with the first level of confidence on these 3 skills: reading, writing, and speaking. How often do you write these days? Think about it. Only when exam comes or when you're sitting on an exam desk. Rest of the time, it's all about you're using your fingers to, to write something on the WhatsApp. What's a good writing communication that you've written? A lot of people recommend that you should write because these days there's a lot of online education that is happening, especially in the last 1.5 years. It's very difficult to imagine that what you could write. So a lot of people suggest that you should write 1 page, 1 essay every day, or a diary of what happened with you every day. I know at Taxila Business School, the students every 15 days, they have to write a diary on what lessons they have learned in all the classes that they have gone through, subject-wise, in the last 15 days. It helps recover your thoughts, manage your thoughts, organize your thoughts in order to have a better understanding of the concept that you have read, you have heard, somebody has taught. Otherwise, it all comes into 1 year and goes out of another year. My specific advice to you is to use technology. Now you can't escape technology, and technology has to be used for the online education and the entire digital world. In fact, the working world is also depending a lot on online technologies. So see what you can learn in terms of what skills it adds to you, what knowledge it adds to you. Use your phone not for a friendly chat probably, otherwise you would be expected that when you have to speak, there's a partner in front of you physically. Today, that partner may not be there because he may be busy elsewhere or it's all an online world. Use your phone to converse. Strike conversations. Use whatever technology you can because you just can't escape technology. Technology is the new way forward and it does throw you. The more you use that, today machine learning and Internet of Things, they all, some other day we could talk about these subjects as well. They are giving you an analysis of how good or bad you are. It's only when you speak and do, that's how you'll be able to utilize even these technologies. In fact, management institutions like Taxila Business School uses this analytics very seriously, and in fact their specialization actually is a dual specialization wherein there's a combination of subjects from international marketing or international business development or marketing and finance. You pick up 2 out of them And plus, compulsorily, you have to go through the embedded business analytics course. That's where the use of technology comes in, and that's where the entire world is moving to, and that's where the entire corporate future recruitments will happen, functional execution will happen, and more intelligence will be generated through use of business analytics. And that's where this business school is doing a lot. Okay, some other day, Atharva, we will speak about my life experience from failure. I guess, that would be a very long story if I start talking about that. So I'm just taking a few comments from the chat windows. Please throw some light on saying no, an important aspect of effective leadership. Light on saying no. I will take this question, actually. To look at it, when you are self-aware that what is your capability and in what time you can bring out what output. It starts with that awareness first, right? And then when your boss comes in and says, do this, do that, yes sir, you're not able to say no, you're actually fooling yourself as well as your own boss and as well as your organization. Remember that what happens is at that moment, you might say, sir, it is not practical to say no. Okay, I'm fine with that. Say yes, go ahead, start doing it. You will start spending, if it was supposed to be 8 hours a day, you will start spending 10 hours a day and then 12 hours a day. If you can't say no, you will start spending 14 hours a day. All your friendships will be by the side. All your readings will be by the side. All your learnings will take a back seat. You will always be in stress. You might start losing hair like me. I'm not saying that, I started losing hair because I was under stress. There could be a lot of heredity over there. But you are doing a disservice to yourself. Whom are you helping by not saying no? So there is no roundabout way of doing this. When you have to say no, you have to say no because you just can't fool yourself. Your own performance parameters will start going down the day you are not able to focus on something that you do the best. The entire story about developing oneself is about every day polishing and doing that what you do the best. That's what you would be known for. If you're very good at accounting, you just don't get yourself into financing and making PPTs and doing due diligence and possibly. If you're good at marketing, just don't delve your mind too much on financing or human resources or operations. All of this, human tendency is to see everything new as very good, exciting. But remember that if you lose your focus by focusing on multiple things, because you just can't say no. It's not just about saying no to your boss, it's about saying no to yourself as well. The day you can't differentiate between what is my priority today, what should I do right now, what should I do next, it's almost like a situation where you're saying, no, everything is important. So I just can't say no to this, and I just can't say no to this, and I can't say no to that. And in that process, you are just taking on more stress, more failures. Okay, all right. You want to create a situation of failure to learn from, fine, do it. But fail early. Fail quickly. So that you can quickly gather yourself and move on. I think the next point, sir, how to stay away from demotivated people? Very good question. Very good question. Now, first you have to understand that you are not demotivated. First, you have to be sure that people don't consider you as demotivated. That's the starting point. I would presume that you've made that yourself aware about that. You are not demotivated. That's why I can understand that. That's why probably some others' demotivation is visible to you. You might be okay. Now, when you see people who are demotivated around you, that could be because of some more recent reason. You have known that person for long and you cannot relate to that what that person, the stage in which that person is today. He's not that kind of. Generally, bada cheerful रहता है. So you have to understand there may be a recent factor that might have impacted. That's not the point where you would actually you would avoid that person. You would tend to show empathy and try to find out what could be the more recent reason which makes that person demotivated. Can I do something for you? And say some positive words. But that, having defined that condition, now I am coming to that habitually you see a lot of demotivated, negatively minded people around. Now the first thing you should not do with them is to fight. You can never win an argument with these people. They'll always have some counter argument because demotivation also gives you a lot of imagination and thinking thrills. You just can't win an argument. So if you don't mind saying yes, you have the final word. I think this argument is yours. This point is yours. I agree. That's fine. Let's not discuss this further. That's one when you have to communicate. But if that is not a requirement, I would recommend that for the moment when you are not in a mood or you're really feeling some down and you really don't want some other demotivated person to affect your energy levels, you should rather avoid it. Now, that's another, a full class on how to avoid people. How to avoid people while they do not feel that they are getting avoided. That's actually a difficult proposition. But there is nothing wrong in letting that person know that I am consciously avoiding you because I don't like your demotivated state at every point. So that's my short answer to that. Okay, how to explore self-specialization in order to choose stream in MBA? Again, a good question. You are already seriously thinking about it. That's a commendation to you. Good. Now, see, imagine every MBA at every institute is a 2-year process. Unless you are an experienced person and you are going for a 1-year PGPX kind of a program. When you are in a PGP, in a normal MBA and you are almost kind of a fresher, you really don't know which function would excite you, which kind of work will excite you, which sector will excite you. Spend time on evaluating your choices. And an MBA environment actually allows you to do that. In fact, it helps you that the entire first year you are going through the compulsory normal management subjects, and plus now you also have the privilege of information from your senior batch who are already specializing, from your even more senior batch on how did they specialize and what did they achieve in the market. Your faculty that is around you will also help you understand from your personality, from your preferences, what kind of specialization will suit you. So spend time on that. A movie might be made in 1 year, but the thought of that movie and the preparation for that, whether it's around story, dialogue, starting, ending, choosing the right set of characters, it's a huge preparation. That's where the final product comes in, which looks good to you, but we do not sometimes realize the hard work that goes behind it. That's the power of preparation. And that 1 year of first year of MBA, you will get almost all kinds of leads to be able to adequately decide where does your interest lie. So at this moment, if you have not joined a program, MBA program yet, please do not think so much about that. as much as you should be worried about what overall career direction that you want to give to yourself. You want to be in managerial cadre? You want to be an executive somewhere? You want to be a senior officer somewhere? You want to start your own business somewhere? You want to learn a skill and become a master in that? You want to do art? You want to do performing arts? Think about those choices first, okay? Leave this question of which functional specialization after your or during your first year of training. All right, next. Thank you, Janvi. Yes, it's really nice to be with you all as well. How to pick good stream in MBA if I am from engineering background? The same answer applies, Pawan, that you should spend your first year seriously at an MBA school. Supply chain is a good option. Yes, it is, because as less and less of interface in a commercial deal is happening because of e-commerce, supply chain as a vocation, as an area of specialization is expanding like never before. So there are going to be huge growth opportunities in supply chain field. Yes, it's a good option. But please also comment on how to say no. Why is it difficult to say it in the first place? Okay, Sunil, you want to press on this question? I'll take it. How to say no? A few things that, it depends on the situation, the context. But let's say I might use these kind of words or sentences. I'm sorry, I'm already hard pressed with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 things. I will be doing injustice to these things. They are also important for the organization. If you still feel that I am the right person, maybe you could think of dividing this job that I'm already doing to somebody. Now you are giving options also, you are indirectly saying no also, and you are not coming straight in the face, no boss, I'm not going to do this. No, and that's not the right way anyways. You have to use proper words, proper setting, and sometimes data always helps. That is why analytics is so exciting. Data always helps. The boss in his frame of mind, he might have lost count of the responsibilities that you might have been given. So it's your responsibility to point to him out that, these are the important things that I'm doing that are occupying my current 8, 9, 10 hours. If you still feel I can do justice to this subject, you tell me. Then what is happening is you're passing on the responsibility of failure or something not happening. See, you just can't yourself be associated with the failure. तो क्या करोगे आप? ले लोगे और कुछ भी करपुरा करके दे दोगे, कुछ भी बना करके दे दोगे. एक सब ऑप्टिमल चीज आउटपुट के रूप में वापस आएगी. It will not conform to the expectations of the quality of the output that is required. But then if that is the choice your boss makes, even after having said no like this, then it's fine. So he's ready to accept your failures. Then it is okay. But then, at some point of time, even then you have to say, sir, I'm not able to do good here as well as there. It is affecting not only my performance, but also your performance. So sometimes when you put yourself in the shoes of the other person and try to speak those words that pinch him more than you, for example, saying, sir, अगर हमारे परफॉर्मेंस से अगर आपकी परफॉर्मेंस अच्छी नहीं होती है तो क्या करना चाहिए, आप खुद बेहतर जानते हो, क्योंकि आप भी उतने ही रिस्पॉन्सिबल हो और अकाउंटेबल हो अपने बॉस. The output expectations from you would also not to be of anything, just prepare anything, do anything, जो भी है जो कर दे सकता है दे दे. No, even your boss expects a good quality from you. So even the way I am trying to explain to you the kind of things that I am doing, and still you feel it is good for me, similarly you should also say this to your boss. If you could do this, remember that. What if you don't do this? I will spend the 1 minute on. If you don't do this, progressively, your own confidence will come down, your stress levels will go up, the overall output will go down, your annual performance will go down, Your boss's annual performance will go down. You will start looking for some other option. Your boss will start looking for some other option. Nothing. And what happens of the organization? The organization is the loser if you don't do all these things. So please learn how to stay. Thanks for such lucid explanations. Thank you very much, Shriya. Sir, how to be more patient while you're trying to achieve something another doesn't trust you? Okay, you're trying to make me a psychologist to try to reflect everybody's mindset. It's very difficult to reflect sometimes on this. I can give you an answer. Okay, let me attempt an answer on that. How to be more patient. Okay, so I want to be more patient because trying to achieve something and other doesn't trust you. I want to be more patient. I want to spend some time to do something good about this work. Whereas my boss or whoever, my parents, do not trust me. Let's create a situation. Civil service, IAS exam. So I need time to prepare my subjects, but my parents are getting jittery. क्या करते रहता है तू, ये नहीं पढ़ा, वो पिछले साल भी तेरा प्रीलिम्स में नहीं हुआ, इस साल क्या कर रहा है तू, ये फॉर्म भरा कि नहीं भरा, वो. So your parents will never say, I don't trust you, तुम नहीं कर सकते. They'll always have a belief कि करो कुछ. ऐसा भी नहीं कहते हुए कभी सुनोगे, यस बेटा तुम कर सकते हो, करो, मेहनत करो, करना है तुम्हें. ये आपको ऐसे ही इस टाइप के क्लासरूम एनवायरनमेंट्स में सुनने को मिलेगा. आपके पेरेंट्स कहेंगे ये सब नाटकबाजी नहीं होती मुझसे, तू कर सकता है तो कर, बता, मैं तेरे को गाइड चाहिए तो गाइड ला करके दूंगा, और तेरे को कोई कोर्स चाहिए तो कोर्स ला करके दूंगा, तो पढ़, बैठ के पढ़. आप कह रहे हो कि पापा ये 3 लाख लोग एग्जाम लिखते हैं, उसमें से खाली 1000 लोगों का होता है, तो 97% लोगों का नहीं होता है. सबको मेहनत करनी पड़ती है. कई बार फर्स्ट चांस में नहीं होता है, तो सेकंड में होता है, थर्ड में होता है. प्लीज बी पेशेंट. नाउ हाउ टू बी मोर पेशेंट इज, अगर कोई सिर पे चढ़ करके बैठ गया तो उसको बोलना पड़ेगा, भाई मेरे को काम करने दे, पापा पढ़ने दो प्लीज, मां परेशान मत करो, फ्रेंड्स का फोन आया, फोन ही नहीं उठाया. ये तो तरीके हैं पेशेंट होने के. भाई आपको फोन भी उठाना है, माँ की बात का सही जवाब भी देना है, पापा की बात को भी सुनना है, जवाब देना है, सामने से जवाब नहीं देना है, पापा बुरा मान जाएंगे, नो दैट स्टफ. कुछ चीजें ब्लैक एंड व्हाइट में क्लियरली कह देने से बहुत काम किया. आपके फादर को भी लगना चाहिए कि आप मेहनत कर रहे हैं, उतना जरूरी है उनके लिए. जब वो आप मेहनत नहीं करते हुए दिखते हैं तभी उनकी stress level बढ़ती है. Remember that. So it is all very context specific. There is no direct one answer to that question. Roshni is asking, it is said that it is lonely at the top, but also it is said that networking, friendship is very important for one's success. Aren't these sayings contradictory? What is actually important for self-leadership, being one or being with a few? Okay. All right. So you're actually, Roshni, okay. Roshni, you're putting in too many thoughts in one question. So I would want you to first segregate the context, and then we will try to apply that, whether it's good to be one with oneself or along with it. So if I ask back a question, how many presidents can be there of the Indian Federation? How many prime ministers can you have? How many CEOs would an organization have? How many directors can an MBA institute have? You have your answer. That's the first answer. So it is always lonely at the top. But the rasta, the way, the journey, you can never reach there alone. Remember Edmund, what was the name of that guy who conquered the Mount Everest? Or even today, anybody going to Edmund Hillary? Even today, if somebody goes to Mount Everest, No single person has got single-handedly and gone and conquered Mount Everest. There have always been Gurkhas, Sherpas, a team of 5, 10, 15 people. The base camp 1, base camp 2, there are already people sitting over there. There are other people who help remove those things, the litter that you create and all of that. You are never the single person to reach the top without contributions of many people around you alongside that journey. Yes, it's lonely at the top, but the journey is never run alone. I don't know how many of you would have realized that when a 200-meter race or a 400-meter race is run, you could sometimes see there are two people from the same team running together. And you see one of those guys would run half the race and then he will stop running. Suddenly you would start questioning, अरे ये क्या हुआ रेस? तो start की थी 8 लोगों ने और 7 ही लोगों ने finish की. You know that additional runner was there to be alongside your main bet, the main runner, in order to give him speed. Running alongside to match the speed, you get him to a certain speed and then you go out of the race and that person will go and finish the race. Yes, it's lonely at the top. The journey is never taken alone. So you'll always need people around you till you reach the top. Then you have to find some other set of people. For example, at the top, there are CEOs of other organizations. At the top, there's a director, so there are other directors. You can create a peer group. You can start looking at some other skills that you want to do. And so, not in your chosen area of specialization, but you might want some other colleagues in some other skills that you want to develop. For example, these days, I'm kind of keen to learn drawing. I love to be in a performing arts space, and so I might get new sets of people. I might get along with, make new friends with. I might go to galleries in order to appreciate some other people's work. That might be a different world. I have not interacted with them so far, but they might be the new partners with me on this life. You're never alone. Your family is always around you. All right, Anusha Kansal, when is the right time to pursue an MBA? Yesterday. That's the shortest answer I have. And incidentally, I have the same answer for a question that often people ask, when is the right time to start a business? And I say, yesterday. If you are ready to do an MBA, why wait? What are you waiting for? That's a question I have to ask and you have to answer. But the question, the technicality in that question is sometimes people say, should you work for a couple of years and then do an MBA? Or you should be, as a fresher, straight from your graduation, you should keep doing an MBA. A practical way of answering this question I have found out where I can actually strike more conversation. I would first ask, भाई बच्चा पढ़ने में कैसा है? रेगुलरिटी ऑफ पढ़ाई कितनी इम्पोर्टेंट है, और बीच में अगर ब्रेक हो गया तो वो कितना वापस कंसंट्रेट कर पाएगा या कर पाएगी पढ़ाई पे, ये तो पेरेंट्स बहुत अच्छे से जानते हैं और दे विल बी एबल टू गिव यू सम असेसमेंट दैट हाँ मुझे लगता है कि लगातार पढ़ते रहें तो अच्छा. बट a more logical answer to this is you can draw out more learnings from an MBA curriculum if you have some experience. The whole world, especially the better schools, always look for more experienced candidates to join them because they bring a different quality of discussion in the class. and they are people who contribute more to debates, and they are also able to listen and understand the concepts much easier because they have seen those concepts working. So that's the question, that's the long answer to that question. Sapna, can I get this PPT? There are many excellent quotes which I like. Atharva, do some homework. I'm sure I did my homework for this class. It stretches 2 days, and yesterday I spent till 2 a.m. because I was not satisfied with what I was having. So I just kept on improving it. So do some hard work. I'm sure you'll find. And when you come here and be a part of this admission process, we'll give you this presentation as well. Sapna, today's webinar was very grateful because of learning so many things on how to control our passions, angry mood, self-dependence. That's so many. Thank you so much. Oh, I thought it's a long question. So thank you very much. Next question, Rhythm. So you got your answer. Can I get this PPT? Very nice. And you could switch on to English, sir. Jayashree, I'm sorry. So that little portions that I was speaking in Hindi, but most of it, I'm sure you would have got the message. Very nice session. Nice. Okay. Oh, so many good words. I'm feeling so happy about it. More energy now. Try so much, sir, for this. With knowledge, good session, and so on. So just keep the chat window away. Let me be with my last slide and just put it in the presentation mode. So I started with saying that you are the more important person for yourself. There is nobody else who is more important than you yourself for you. Why? There lies the answer. It's you who stand on your legs. You walk on your legs. You talk with your tongue. You eat. You drink. You walk. You run. You learn. You understand. You speak. You try. You earn, you lead, you achieve, and you excel. There might be an alternate journey. You fail, you learn, you retry, and then you achieve, you excel. It's all about your story. So who will write your story? Nobody else. Nobody else. It's you who have to write this story. Every social context, whether it is family, friends, or business, starts with self-leadership, self-awareness, and this all starts with you. There was a slide in which I showed you the choice is yours, excellence or mediocrity. The world is full of mediocre people, and that's a great opportunity for each one of you to write your own story in the best possible manner. We promise, Taxila Business School promises to help build you a more versatile, more formidable, a stronger you. Thank you very much.